You said the tribe was on the brink of extinction. What happened?
After the massacre at the proving, a great war party was sent after the killers. Less than half survived.
I didn't catch that. Was that half of the tribe or half of the war party?
The killers do not fight alone. Somehow they have a power over the machines, corrupting them, driving them mad.
So the killers got away?
Yes. And now the only plan my sister matriarchs can agree to is to sing the Hymn of Atonement and beg for All Mother's mercy, as though she would not want us to help ourselves.
Then, what's your plan?
This was my plan. To show you where you were born and loose you to follow the destiny All Mother intended for you. The other High Matriarchs are waiting for us. Let me do the talking.
I am having a really hard time with this game. It's...
Yes. I showed her. Sisters, the goddess spoke to Aloy. Told her to heal the corruption.
So, like, you know, all of these things are machines, but yet this one machine is like a deific status.
Sister, for once, Lansra, join with
Like,
us.
if you know they're machines, I don't know, and maybe it does clear it up the further in you get, but I mean, like, these like they're treating the machines like it's a supernatural entity, but it just doesn't work. I mean, you know,
May All Mother protect you and sustain you.
and again, maybe it does get cleaned up, but this is something I was thinking about. What was I was either watching or playing something. I think it was at Sonic Forces, where like the Sonic from Sonic Generations came into the Sonic Forces world, and Tails was just like, well, you know, everything happens for a reason. And I don't know if they ever cleared that up, but like that's one of those things where if you're gonna have strong world building and a strong story presence, you have to do a good job of planting those seeds, and this just isn't doing it well. And I don't remember if it's in this video or the next one, but I put in, I just hate the combat in this game. Like, everything about its presentation makes you really believe that it is a strong melee combat centric kind of system, but it's not. It's much more. They built the controls, they built the dynamics around the stealth based systems, and it just doesn't work the way you do your healing. It's just not executed well, and I really hope the sequel gets much better treatment, because everything about, like, I really want to like this game. I want to like the characters, I want to like the world, I want to like the plot, but they're just... It's built on a premise, and then you can, I mean, I really get the feel that Sony just kind of came in and said, listen, this is going to be a biggie for us. This is going to be our sandbox game. So really dress it up. Really amp up the production, not necessarily... And this, okay, so these dialogue wheels. I've never liked these. These are just so.
I don't know what that means any more than you do.
Then you must find out.
If,
However, you sense that
if
part of
the
your purpose is to
character
help the
and the
tribe,
dialogue
by all
and
means do so.
the world building that
I
you
have
get
no
from
doubt
this
you will find
is
people in
well
Wales
done
who
enough
embrace.
and important enough, I should want to see it, and
You said the
I
Nora sent a war party after the
should
fires.
want to
Yes.
sit through it.
It
I
was
shouldn't
ambushed and overrun.
be given an option of, oh, here are all these other little things
Do you know what it comes
to really get it, but if you are not interested in that because we didn't make it interesting, here's the one thing you can choose to just get right on by it.
Why are the lands beyond Nora territory?
I mean, it's just,
Is
it's.
it not obvious? Our land is sacred. We live in sight of the
I
one
have
goddess,
never
or
liked
source
these
of all
dialogue
that
trees.
lives.
Mass Effect did it
Beyond
relatively
Earth's
well because they had
lies
like the
vast
what was it,
fallen
Paragon,
land,
Paragon and
spiritual
Renegade.
That is why it is
Um,
against tribal laws.
But this is
The
just
blessing will protect you.
exposition dump. I mean, like there are 5 out of 6 things there that are just
From here,
exposition
you must
dumps,
go to the gates of the
and
embrace.
then one
Speak
is
to Varl,
actually what
and
you're
he will
supposed to be
point the way to
doing,
Meridian.
and it
If
just
Nora tries to stand in your way, Aloy, make sure
Oy.
they know you are a seeker.
it just doesn't work for me.
Thank you, Tirsa.
It could,
Done.
it really could, if they just pulled it back.
Nora faithful.
But they tried to do so much, and it just fell flat so many times. Right there, that's a perfect example. And that's something, oh man, that's something I'm going to talk about later, too. There's one big specific part. Like, the only parts of this world you can interact with are ones that have yellow outlines. Like, if it doesn't have a yellow rope on it, pretty much you can't interact with it. And so that's where this is not an open world, this is not a sandbox game. This is an extremely linear game pretending to be a sandbox game. Because part of the appeal of these sandbox games is that you can always
What was that?
you can have your own adventure. You can experience the world however you choose to do so. But with this, there is a massive, vast expanse, but if there's not a yellow rope tied to it, you can't do anything with it. And so it's like it is a very, very, very linear game, pretending to be an open world sandbox. And then this was the same reason I couldn't get into the Metal Gear games. And this reminds me a lot more of Metal Gear than it does like Breath of the Wild or something like that. And to a certain extent, that is part of the problem. Like, and again, just look at this. Like, every probably 3/5 of my arsenal is just to slow this stuff down, just to get it to hold still. And so, you know, that again, that is the stealth mechanics dictating how you are able to interact with the world. And so most of the time, and again, I don't dislike that, but you have to let me know what I'm in for, and this game just did not do a good job of that.
How does it possess other machines?
Again, this game kind of masquerades as one thing, but is most definitely
This.
something else.
You did it with this. It's connecting to my focus. Then I could use this.
And so that's kind of what I hope they with and, you know, this game did well, but you know, you don't really hear people talking about it a whole lot. Even looking stuff on YouTube for kind of tips and tricks and stuff like that. There are like a couple secret weapons, and for the most part, that's kind of it.
Maybe I can scan it.
It's disappointing that so much of the production went to the map size and the textures that they use for it, rather than how you actually plan the game or play the game. I'm sorry. Because there's a good game in here. There's a really good game in here. This guy I'm curious about.
Danger for you, Outlander.
I mean, if you, it's kind of like Twilight right now a little bit, but I mean, doesn't he look like a male Aloy? Like that headdress looks like the red flowing hair that she has, and kind of similar armor. I wonder if he becomes a what was that, Oscar of Ostrava? Was that Dark Souls? Was that the first guy you find who was potentially the chosen undead before you?
Lots of machines, all controlled by the killers. I sent a stampede of them down the slope. Maybe the war chief left something behind.
And I mean that's most definitely. And again, I did not spend a lot of time like doing a lot of exploration and all of this in here, because none of it. Okay, so this game takes place in Colorado, I believe, either Colorado or Utah, but I'm pretty sure it's Colorado. And you know, that's confirmed by finding the little sites and everything. Cool. I'm totally down with that. I got no problem with that. But it also, I mean, there's just to see that. That's not a reason for me to want to explore. However, Breath of the Wild, you know, there are things off in the distance that catch your eye and draw your attention. However, the major difference there is that this is really trying to be a story-focused, combat-centric game, whereas Breath of the Wild is a exploration-centric combat kind of game.
Followed their trail, but again and again,
and even this is not. Again, the combat is tainted, because the way stealth combat works is not like how good action adventure melee combat works. And that's why Breath of the Wild just kind of did so much better. They had a specific focus, whereas this game just tries to be a little bit of everything, and it's there, but it's just not what it needs to be. Feel like I meant to delete this, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going on here. I may cut this out. And I mean, don't get me wrong. The game looks phenomenal, but a lot of games look phenomenal and are not are still not good just because of that. You give me some potatoes, I'm not going to be hungry, but I'm also not going to be satisfied. You give me some meat with those potatoes, now I have a meal. This game is just russet. Straight russet potatoes.
That's a machine I can't override. Not until I've learned more.
Now, I could be doing melee combat with all of these things, but it just doesn't work well. And again, I don't think it's in this video. It's definitely in the next one, because I'm past halfway through, and there's one guy we gotta meet that, oh my god. One of the few moments the game does not look beautiful. Oh, I didn't know what happened right there. I guess I should have been talking, so it didn't seem like the actual video froze. It did not. Mine did. That's weird. I don't remember that. I don't know. I really do hope that the sequel gets to be its own thing. Seriously, you can do a lot of good things with potatoes. You can make potatoes into an amazing meal. But without that, it's just going to be boring, bland, and pretty forgettable, aside from the people who can't get enough of potatoes. And the thing is, and we'll have multiple instances of this, they know the melee combat sucks. It's pretty apparent. And again, I'll kind of point out why when we get to it.
This must be the rise Sona's runner told me about.
So basically, story so far, we have been made Seeker to be able to leave the Nora lands to pursue the killers. And so right now I'm basically trying to catch up with the war chief who has been pursuing the killer party. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I meant to delete this whole thing, but whatevs. It's fine. I try not to have a lot of the menu stuff unless there's something worth actually pointing out. I try not to have two things I try to keep out of the videos are loading screens and
The war chief stopped here.
menu
So
navigation.
taking a moment to rest. Couldn't have been easy.
It's kind of like I can't climb that rock. It's just it's so frustrating that there is so much blatant potential that's just wasted.
Arrow shards.
I shouldn't say wasted, just not
Dressings for me.
full fruition of these ideas.
No one would have left it willingly. Someone's taken losses. And I wasn't the only one who got hurt. Might be if Braves were crafting ammunition here.
And I also just kind of don't like Aloy. And I don't know. It's she kind of has this bravado that isn't really earned.
Tracks. Need some blood. Looks like Sona and her Braves headed for that ridge.
I mean, like, you know, if you go back and you watch that, like, granted, yeah, the see right here, just, it's got to be yellow. It's got to be yellow. Otherwise, no, can't do it. I lost my train of thought. There's so many things about this game that could be so damn good, and it's squandered for aesthetic. Because if a game looks good, that will appeal to everybody. If the game looks appealing, that will draw people in. But if the game has an identity, then you better be part of that demographic and that audience. Otherwise, the game is not for you. You know, look at the Souls games.
Nice.
I mean, part of what drew people into like Demon Souls and Dark Souls was the look of it. It's a damn good looking game. And Sekiro and Bloodborne, all of those. I mean, they are phenomenal looking games. Thank God we got a yellow rope there. But once you play them, once you kind of get past the aesthetic, then you got to decide. Now, it was some of the few instances where, but you can even see, like, it didn't let me go to the rock on the right. It made me, you know, gravity pulled me to the one place I could climb up rather than where I tried to climb up.
Dead sawtooth.
You know, Nintendo did that on,
She could be close.
yeah, they did it on the Switch, but you know what else they did it on? The Wii U. And the PlayStation 4 couldn't have that, because you got to have this. You got to have this right here. You got to have constant snowflakes. You got to have hair effects. I'm so disappointed with this game, because I really do see how good it could be. I really want to like it. Go ahead, shoot the damn thing. What are you waiting for? And like right here, she had some smart ass comment that I edited out because it gets on my nerves. It's just like, you know,
You're lucky I happened by. One heartbeat more, and that sawtooth would have torn you apart.
So you're War Chief Sona? Varl asked me to find you.
like right there, that's an appropriate response. Her response was like, oh, another second, and I would have killed it myself. No, you wouldn't have. You sat there with your arrow knocked.
Sentiment. I've tracked some of the killers who struck the...
You could have easily, once that thing was hanging on there, just shot it right in the face and sent it flying. Couldn't even do that.
No idea.
Show me then. Lend me your strength. Follow.
Thus far, all this character has done has been to barely win a Spartan race. And this is where we're going to get to the first instance where you can see they know the combat sucks. And technically, it's not the first. That first boss fight was, but this is kind of where it dawned on me that they know the combat doesn't work.
If I end up alerting them.
So basically, we're telling her, hey, I'm going to stealth through, and I'm going to take care of these people. I'm going to take care of this place. And so there we go. We're sniping them. We're taking them out. Everything's good to go. And so you can see, like, somebody is aware over to the right, but, like, where are they? So somehow they saw me. Now everybody knows where I am. And what happens? All of the NPCs swarm in to help with the fight. That's what happened in the first boss fight. That's what happens in the next boss fight. That's what happens in the raid fights. I mean, like, it is apparent to the developers that they basically had to have some kind of assistance because the combat just doesn't work the way they wanted it to.
She's right, War Chief.
Stealth works fine. Stealth is good to go. But as soon as you gotta go melee,
and so I did.
you gotta have a squad come in and save your ass.
I left the gate well guarded. My place is here, with you, with our vengeance. Am I not owed that?
Maybe I should have a look around, see if I can figure out where the rest of the killers are.
Do as you wish. Everyone else does.